Welcome back to the KIX 96.5 Morning Show. We love featuring artists you should know about on the show, and today we're heading to Australia to chat with award-winning singer-songwriter Doug Bruce. Doug was born in Texas. He now lives in Bendigo, Victoria, Australia. His first album, All I Need, came out back in 2008. He's a South Australian Country Music Hall of Fame inductee. He took a couple years off, and fans demanded the return. And he's back. His new single, Funktry, just came out last month. We're stoked to have Doug Bruce on the show. First, Doug, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. Good to be back home, even though it's digital.
Yeah, well, good to be back out in the States, that's for sure. Well, Happy New Year. I don't like to start an interview on a buzzkill, but I saw that your father-in-law passed away on January 1st. He had dementia. My condolences go out to you and your wife and the family. My mother-in-law passed away like a year ago from dementia, so it sucked. I can feel your pain. So not a good way to start the year.
Definitely not a good time. Not a great way to ring in the new year. But thanks for your condolences, and yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you're born in Texas. You're in Australia. You've been there a while. How the heck did you get to Australia?
Kind of a long story, but to kind of make it short, I was living in Nashville, working as a drummer. I started my career as a drummer in Texas, and I moved to Nashville and did some pretty cool things over there. Played for people. I was a drummer for Billy Yates for a while, and did some session things, that kind of thing. And then I met an Australian girl one night, and she was only there for a couple of days. She was on a working holiday, passing through, and we just had those 2 days to kind of get to know each other. You know, I had drinks and went out and played pool and caught up the next night, that kind of thing. And then she had to go, and I said, "Well, see you later. That was a good time. Never see you again." And she kept calling me, wouldn't leave me alone. We spent a fortune on phone cards. That went on for a good 6 months, and then I came over here to visit. She came back. Long story short, we ended up getting married in Texas, and then lived there for about a year. Until our first born was coming along, Riley came along, and then we moved over here and been here for, I've been here nearly 19 years now. So.
Wow. Well, you mentioned it. You start as a drummer. How do you get to the front of the band?
You just walk around the drums and you go. When I was in Nashville, I kind of got. I started doing a lot more singing, background singing, backing vocals, that kind of thing, in recordings and things, and I'd always kind of played around with songwriting. And when I came here, I played drums for various artists and bands and festivals and things, like kind of just a fill-in guy. And I got a job with a band called Crackerjack. And they were playing a lot. We did quite a lot of touring and things around here in Australia. And I kind of got bored. And so I got to do something different. And I'd always dabbled in recording since I'd been in Texas. And wife and friends and family said, "Why don't you write songs? Why don't you just put your own thing out there and see what happens?" And they dragged me kicking and screaming, but I did it. And I kind of found out that I probably should have been doing that all along. But,
yeah. Well, were you playing the guitar? Were you a guitarist at the same time?
Yeah, I played a bit of everything. My dad was a bass player for Red Steagall back in the days.
Oh, wow.
He took the Heir to the Throne, Texas. We played in Wyoming actually quite a lot. He played Jackson Hole a lot.
Yeah,
back in the 70s and 80s, and came here in '79. So I've always been. I had a very musical family, singers and songwriters, and that, and the family musicians and things. So I kind of just dabbled in everything. Sort of a jack of all but master of none, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I heard one interview you did years ago, and they asked you how you got started, and you said, "I was born."
Yeah, you walk from the no.
Exactly. There was no choice. I was going to be a musician no matter what. One listener, because it's been like Australian week this week on the show, thanks to Stephen with Blue Shamrock. One listener calls in today, and he's like, "I didn't even know there was country music in Australia." You've been there for quite a while. I mean, you said 19 years, Doug. How is the scene? I mean, was there a lot 19 years ago? How has it evolved?
Well, that was the exact thought that I had when we decided we were going to move over here. The wife, I said, "What am I going to do over there? I mean, I'm here chasing this ridiculous dream in Nashville, and is there country music in Australia? And she said, absolutely. And she brought, she brought me back when she'd go to visit family. She brought back a few CDs of people like Adam Harvey and Troy Cassar-Daley. And I said, oh, well, okay. Oh, we'll check it out. And I got over here, and the scene is it's not a country's not obviously not as big here as it is in the States.
Yeah.
And there's not as much population to support it really, but the fans that we do have here are extremely passionate about it, and they will latch onto you. And if they do, if they like you, they will support you to the ends of the earth. So a very interesting dynamic here. It's kind of the same but different.
Yeah, well, that's cool though. I mean, I told you before you came on, I was like, Doug, you're an Australian legend. I mean, your accolades are 2 pages long. What they said, I was like, holy crap. Well, first, I mean, you took a couple years off. Were you burnt out? Was it family? What happened?
Yeah, I decided we'd been doing it for a long time, and things just got to a point. I think it was just burnout. We were playing quite a lot, traveling around quite a lot. Played pretty much every festival there is in Australia for country music and that kind of thing. And we traveled back to the States a few times. Played in Texas, played in Nashville, the CMA festival, that kind of thing. And after a while, just a lot of different things happening, and then COVID happened and all that. And I said, I'll just take a break for a while, So. But that was probably a year or so before COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I went, oh, well, this is bad, but this is kind of good.
Yeah, so, exactly. Good thing I wasn't on it.
Yeah. So it was just a break, and probably the best thing I could have done, because I was really struggling with writer's block and all that kind of thing, and just couldn't get songs to come. And after a while, they kind of started creeping back in, and people started asking me, and got a lot of messages and emails and things wanting us to return to the scene. And I said, all right, well, look, let's try something. We'll just do a show locally, in the middle of nowhere, place called Tulane, out in probably half an hour drive from here. Nobody will be there, but we'll just do it and see what happens. Sold it out. Place was packed. And I went, oh, I guess they do want us to come back.
I guess I did have some fans. Maybe they did miss me. Well, and yeah, I saw that. That's sweet, because you're in Victoria, which you're like north of Melbourne.
Yeah, it's an old gold mining town in central. It's a big regional town. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
north of Melbourne.
How do you feel? I mean, you had to just feel elated when you play the show, or you walk out on stage and the place is packed.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, it was an old it's an old pub in the middle of nowhere, and there's no accommodation. They have grounds across the road that are camping, like a camping ground. Yeah, and it's always vacant. But on the back of the pub is a this massive tin shed. It's set up like an old. It reminds me of an old Texas, like a honky tonk, like very rustic. Nice big dance floor, cool bar. It's got all this stuff in there. It reminds me of being home. And so yeah, when we went out there, it was I just didn't expect that many people to show up. I thought we'd probably have maybe 20 or 30, 40. But yeah, we packed the place out, and it was also the place I'm talking about. You can see it. It's I have a video called "The Tears" that I did with my good buddy Kevin Bloody Wilson. Joined me on that. And that was where we shot that video for The Tears.
Go check him out. It's Doug Bruce. He's on Facebook, Instagram. Go to YouTube. Check out all his stuff. He's got a ton of stuff, multiple albums. His latest single, Funktry, is out now. It's Doug Bruce and the Tailgaters. How many Tailgaters are still left? Is it the same guys? We had to get new ones? What?
Pretty much the same guys. I've had Mark DiRosario has been with me for years. Rusty Cochran, bass player. My guitar player is Mark DiRosario. Rusty's a bass player. Rusty Cochran. He's been with me for years. Pedal steel player. We have a couple of pedal steel players that work with me, and they've been with me for just probably 10 years or more. We go through drummers like we change socks, but everybody does. So,
boy, that's the same in the States. Nothing changes about drummers.
Yeah, same everywhere. They're all. But yeah, there's normally 5, 6 of us. We have a piano player that joins us occasionally, so we have a lot of fun. It's a big show.
Yeah. No, it's something. Mark, yeah, it's funny. Was he like 12 when he joined the band? I mean, he looked really.
Yeah. just 12.
Yeah, he was just 12 back then. You've produced every one of your albums. This Shoe Fly Studios. Did you do other artists or just yourself or what?
I have produced quite a number of artists here in Australia. Yep, and I've done a lot of work for other artists as far as recording bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, I did all my albums. I had a studio called Shoe Fly Studios when we were on a property out in the sticks, and that was a massive studio. I've got a little basement now where I do everything. I did Funktry in the basement of the house here, tiny little room. But yeah, produced all my stuff and did fairly well with what I had to work with. So pretty happy with all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I produced a few artists here. There's a number of artists here that have gone on to do big things that, I helped them. I feel like I helped them get a start. So,
yeah. What's the goal for an Australian artist? Is it to go to the States? Is it to be the biggest in Australia? What do you think?
Most artists here do have their eyes. They have the American flag in their eyes, to say that, so to speak. They do have that desire to go to the States. That's the big one. I think that maybe a lot of Australian artists don't necessarily realize how massive that market is and how hard it is to crack. But I think when I came over here initially, a lot of artists, there was kind of a lot of side eye going on when I kind of tried to get into it, and that kind of thing. But they eventually I was accepted. I think they thought I came here to be a singer and be an artist, and I didn't. I came here because I fell in love with an Australian woman, and they married an Australian. That was just a byproduct of being married to an Australian and coming to Australia. Is that that's what I do, so I'm gonna have to do that here.
Yeah. Go check him out. It's Doug Bruce. He's on Facebook, Instagram. Go check out all of his stuff. He's everywhere. Funktry is his latest single. You're going to hear that here coming up soon. How big's football? Because on your last gig, you wore the Dallas Cowboys jersey. Does everybody know the Cowboys? How big's American football there?
Yeah, a lot of people follow it. Not as many as it's not a big thing, but a lot of people do follow it. I have a lot of friends that do watch it. A lot of them don't understand it. They don't understand why it starts and stops and all. What's going on? And I've tried to explain it to my wife over and over again, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But Aussie rules football is the big thing here. That's the Aussie game, and that's just no pads, just running all the time. It's insane. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah,
it's one thing to get hit, but when you never stop, when you're constantly chasing the ball, it's like soccer and football mixed together. It's really an interesting game.
Yeah, with no pads. The different Australian artists I've talked to, Tamworth Music Festival, this is like, the pinnacle there, or it's like Nashville of Australia. You've been there multiple times. You've been up for a ton of awards. Tell us what's going on in Tamworth.
Tamworth is one of the largest country music festivals in Australia. It's kind of like the CMA Fest in Nashville. There's just a lot of free music going on. All the venues have music on. I think 80, 90,000 people show up.
Wow.
Over 10 days. Free music everywhere. There are ticketed shows. Ours is one of the ticketed shows. We used to do, and all the artists go there. They'll either, all the major artists in Australia, country artists will come and do at least one show. And then there's a lot of up-and-comers and ones that have been in the business for a long time that will do a lot of free shows and things. And that's how we got our start, was in Tamworth. We used to play outside of Tamworth, couldn't get a gig in Tamworth for the festival years ago. And finally, the Central Hotel in Tamworth Gary gave us a gig, and we packed the place out. People were coming in because what we do is a little different. I mean, I guess maybe because of the accent, there's a little bit more legitimacy. And the band, we click. We all like the same kind of music. We all love what we do. And we packed that place out every day. And we did 2 shows a day for 10 days, sometimes 3, and just wear ourselves out. But it was so much fun. And then eventually it got to the point where we were doing so many shows. When we took the break, I called up to go back and said, "What we want to come back and do some more free shows." And because at one point we were exclusive to only one entertainment company there, and he said, "Yeah, you can come back, but we don't want you to do free shows. You're going to start doing ticketed shows." I said, "Oh, that's where artists go to die, man. Nobody's going to show up. That's a 700 seat theater. We're not going to fill that." And he goes, "No, you'll do it." So yeah, I was stressed out, but we did. We sold it out, and it was fantastic. So
Nice.
and that's what we're doing again. Tamworth's fantastic. So if anybody ever comes to Australia, come in January and plan to go to Tamworth, because it's a fantastic. If you want a legitimate look at country music in Australia, and a legitimate Australian experience, Tamworth would be a good start.
Yeah, for sure. Doug's playing Monday, January 22nd at 8 o'clock at Blaze's Showroom live at Wes is where he's playing this year at Tamworth. How far is Tamworth from where you are?
Tamworth from me is about a 12, 13-hour drive. Yeah.
Is it from everybody I've talked to? It's like 8 hours, 18 hours. You're 12 hours. Is it out in the middle of nowhere, or where the hell's Tamworth?
Yeah, well, I've got to go shopping this afternoon. That's about 10 hours. So, there's a lot of space in between. There's a lot of wide open country. Most people in Australia live around the coastline, so there's not a lot of population within the center of Australia. That's quite vacant. So to get anywhere, if you're going to drive, it's going to be a long haul.
Yeah.
Most places, there's not a lot in between. Like,
it's like Wyoming.
Like Wyoming. It's like Texas. There's a lot of space in between. But it's like, there's not like back home. There's not, you've always got service roads and stations everywhere, and there's 12 different fast food chains on every corner, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not that way here. It's very different.
Yeah. So. It's the Outback. Funktry, your new song. This is a little out of the box, and you said, what was it, by mistake, or how did this happen?
Oh, it was just a funky accident. No, it's really bizarre how that came across. Look, a lot of my songs happen this way, but this one was really interesting because my dad was a bass player back in the 70s, 80s for Red Steagall and Johnny Duncan and people like that. And he retired from music years ago, and he's moved to the Philippines now. But when he did, he gave me his bass guitars that he had, and the one that he had was one I was playing when I was a kid. It was the one he took on the road when he was playing for Red and those guys, and it's an old like 80s G&L bass, really funky sound, that 70s sound. And I was just playing around with this little bass line in the studio one day, and I thought, oh, this might be a song. So I pieced some things together and wrote this lyric, and the lyric was just shocking, but it was, and I sent it to Mark de Rosario when I put the drums and everything on it. And Mark, when he put his guitar track on it, it was totally different idea. I went, oh, ding, ding, this is a totally different song now. So I had to rewrite the lyric and change some things, and that's how it turned into what it is now. It was just, had no idea that the song, there was no intended, I didn't really have an idea that what the song would be. It just kind of became what it is. It's really weird how that happened.
Yeah, it evolved into Funktry. It's funky. Yeah, I was like, man, this is like a disco country song. Yeah, you can feel the 70s. You can feel the bass in it, that's for sure. Well, For Your Love and Funktry, the two singles this year. So what are we planning for 2024?
Oh, look, I've got a lot of songs written, and I've been working on some demos and things, and I'll probably release a few more coming up. So we'll just see. It just depends on what comes out of the mill. I've got a few good things, I think. So I'll put some things out. I don't know. I don't know that I'll release an album. I just might keep releasing singles for a little while and then see what happens. But just got to get a bit of traction. If these songs do well and people still keep coming to the shows, we'll just keep churning them out, I suppose.
Yeah, because after Tamworth, are we going to play more shows?
Well, we've gotten to the point now, we're all a bit long in the tooth, so we don't do as much as we used to. We try to do what we want to do. Unless somebody offers really stupid money, or something like that, we'll go. But we've all got other things going on. A lot of us have day jobs and that kind of thing, so we don't push ourselves as hard as we used to. We just if we don't want to do it or it's not going to be fun, we don't do it. Yeah.
Well, what about a music video? Because you seem like you loved making music videos.
We used to have a ball making music videos.
You have some great music videos.
We had a lot of fun doing those. Yeah, look, I could probably do that.
You could do a really cool video with Funktry.
Funktry would be a good one. I would love to do a live video of one of our shows at Tamworth, because that's a big show. It's a really good vibe, good energy. Consider doing something like that. But who knows? We'll see.
Well, keep your eye on him. Doug Bruce, go like him. He's on Facebook, Instagram, go to YouTube. Check out all of his awesome videos, and Funktry is out now. Doug, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it very much. And look, maybe we'll get over to Wyoming sometime.
That would be awesome. Here's Funktry. It's Doug Bruce. It's KIX 96.5.